Welcome to the Shuffle Curious podcast. I'm your host, Patty Lynch. Have you ever seen an amazing shuffler at a show or festival and wondered, how did they get started? How did they develop their skills? And who are they beyond the dance floor? Well, that's exactly what we're exploring in the show. We'll dive into the personal experiences of the dancers that make up our beloved community. We'll be learning more about who they are and what makes this dance so special to them. So, with that, let's jump into the show and let's get curious together. This is a Shuffle Curious DJ showcase. Mario, what's up, man?
What's up?
I am so glad that you're joining us for the first ever Shuffle Curious DJ showcase. It's a mouthful, sorry. But you've already been on the show thus far and kind of talked to us about your shuffle journey. So it's going to be very interesting to now dive into your DJ journey, because those very much kind of coincide with one another. And it is very much an interest of yours now. Like you're looking to take it to the next level, and it's been a pretty steady progression, and you've really tapped into it. So I'm super happy that you're on the show to just describe this to us. And then we're going to get the treat of you playing a little mix for us. So super excited what you're going to pull on that one. I have an idea of what the genre might be, but we'll see. You might throw some curveballs. But pleasure having you, man. For the audience who might not have heard your initial episode, just tell us kind of like a little bit of your background. So where are you from? We'll start off with where are you from, and then how long have you been DJing for?
So I'm from Denver, and you're right in the sense that my DJ journey has kind of started to coincide with my shuffling journey as well. Been DJing now for about 9 months, and it has been an experience to be able to learn, go through the struggles, the growing pains that come with not just DJing, but really a new craft. And I'm really excited to see where this journey takes me.
What is your DJ name?
Sol Sonata.
Got it. And what exactly does that mean?
So it means sun song, but in different derivatives. Sol being the Latin word for sun, and then sonata being defined as just a piece of music. So in a way, it's a wordplay on the sun song. So I went with Sol Sonata.
Okay, got it. And what meaning does that hold for you? Because I know a lot of people, they'll ponder their DJ name and like what the meaning is very important, because I think a lot of people view it as like, I got one shot to name myself. You know what I mean? Like to have to pivot or to do something else. It's not an easy rebranding of yourself. So you typically, I guess, want to get it right. I'm sure you can pivot, and you can, especially early in your journey and whatnot. But why was that the initial selection for your DJ name? And do you think you'll keep it?
I do think I'll keep it. The reason I wanted to go with Sun Song is because, or Sol Sonata in this case, is because I want to play hard-hitting, uplifting trance. I want to play music that's powerful, like the sun, but sunlight also brings you happiness. Hence the name Sol Sonata, uplifting, hard-hitting trance. Understood.
Okay, so you weren't always a DJ, of course. You know what I mean? You embarked on, from, if my memory is not failing me, you embarked on your DJ journey as you were going through your shuffle journey. You probably found some inspiration and things like that led you to this. What was life like before DJing? You know what I mean? What were kind of like the precursors of a DJ career, you know what I mean? And the interest building that before you decided to really take a step into this realm?
Well, you're inspired by the artists that you listen to. Although this isn't trance music, I got into listening to dubstep music, and just seeing the DJs perpetuate the energy that they do when they're on stage. It's like, whoa, they're like almost superheroes to you in a way. So but I never really, I guess, went ahead and just gave it a shot. Um, you know, it was shuffling that got me to have confidence into my pursuits, into, just trying new things and not having any fear, animosity, or, inhibitions about it. And so, had a lot of friends who were DJs as I got to know more people in the scene. And I was like, I'm just going to give it a shot. I'm going to give it a shot. And I actually sought a mentor. And he's also become a really good friend, Josh, who goes by the DJ name Apollo. He's a hard techno DJ. And initially, I wanted to spin techno, even though trance was always my favorite genre, just because it has its similarities to trance, but there's also more opportunity, at least in my opinion, in the scene that I'm in for techno than there is for trance. So I wanted to go with something that would just allow me to have the opportunity to grow, to have some chances to play music, which are more prominent in techno than they are in trance. But my journey has led me to say, I'm just going to play trance when I can. And if there's no trance scene or the scene is hard to find, then I'll just make the scene.
Understood. So did you meet Josh, your mentor now, before you started to kind of mess around with the decks and kind of figure out what you wanted your sound to be like? Or was he the one who kind of grabbed you by the hand and was like, we're starting here? Like, were you dabbling beforehand? Like, where do you feel your journey like actually started, like ground zero?
Well, I knew Josh prior to DJing. He had played a show for Denver EDM Fam, and I met him through the friends that I made. But he, at one point, had mentioned to me that he was doing lessons to take on mentees, and I didn't like think about it. I was like, I'm not going to be a DJ. But then when I decided, I'm just going to give it a shot, that core memory kind of like came back. It's like, hey, this dude does lessons and I know this guy. And he's pretty good. Like, he's opened up a Renegade system, and like, he's about his business, and he's producing some of his original tracks now, and he's killing it. So I felt comfortable seeking his mentorship, and we've played even a set together, and just it's been fun just going on this journey with him, kind of being the master here.
And he is so supportive of his students. I can attest to this just because like I'm taking lessons with him as well. And it was something that you brought to my attention, and then also our friend Toph, how good of an instructor, mentor, takes the time, like really cares about like how you are progressing, wants you to like wherever you are in your journey, like he's going to go over a lot of the fundamentals and the foundations with you. But like if you come to him and you're like, I've got a set next week, he diverts from the normal curriculum. It's like, how are we going to get you prepared for this set? You know what I mean? So it's like he's very in tune with what your needs are at any point in time. Like if you're just chilling and you're trying to, learn, like he's going to very much visit the fundamentals with you and like really hone those in. But that's not typically the case with like yourself and myself. Like we're playing some shows now, and like we're doing performances, and it's like we need to have all of our P's and Q's, or whatever the terminology is, I's dotted and T's crossed before we go into a set. And he's been really great with that, and he's been really great with other aspiring DJs as well. So kudos to him. Are there any other mentors out there that you can mention who's kind of helped you along the way, especially with like your origins and how you began?
Definitely have to give some credit to Alex Frick, who's also our boss with the liaison job. Just being able to be surrounded by the scene just by being in his presence, watching him do his thing. He's been doing it for, I believe, 10 years. Don't quote me on that. So he's pretty well seasoned. And top of that, just been a great friend. And I would definitely consider him a mentor.
Absolutely, absolutely. He's definitely imparted knowledge on us, and it's really cool that we get to have him as a boss as well. And he's so accessible to us, you know, with anything that we're going through in our own careers, and for feedback and things like that. So with that, you know, you've started, you know, doing this, and you've really kind of leaned into it. You're practicing on your own. You're spinning with the homies. Like you just did a set with like the Mile High Shufflers meetup that we just had, and things like that. So you're very, very much involved. How has the evolution of your DJ career kind of looked? You know, like were there any lumps and bumps along the way, like self-doubt, like the things that we typically go through, you know, when we're performing a new craft, and we might have that imposter syndrome. You know, how has that kind of looked from your origins, starting off, getting these lessons from Josh, and then like carry it forward like to today?
I think a lot of the struggles that I went through with shuffling, I'm going through now as a DJ. You're gonna have growing pains. There are gonna be days you don't want to practice, but I can say again, thanks to shuffling, you know, instilling some confidence into my abilities and what I'm capable of. While self-doubt has crept here and there, I felt pretty confident so far with how my journey has progressed. There's a lot to learn. There's always going to be more to learn. And I haven't even started scratching the surface on production yet. And I'll actually be working with another mentor for that one. So I'm pretty excited to see how that relationship, what it butts into. Because at the end of the day, I want to make trance music, but there's only so far you can go if you don't drop your original tracks. So my approach is going to be, I'm just going to do my best at what I can do, what's within my power, seek mentorship when it's available, have faith, and the rest will happen. The rest will, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
Yeah, yeah. I think if you just put your best leg forward in all these aspects, you know, the technicalities of DJing, promoting yourself, the production, you know, that comes with all of this, something will happen. You know what I mean? Like you can throw a bunch of shit at the wall and see what sticks, you know? And I think that's kind of what happens. You get your shot here and there.
I mean, so much has already happened, and I've been doing it for 9 months, and I didn't think that even with the small opportunities that I've had, sure, I'm not playing in front of like a festival crowd or anything like that, but there's something about playing in front of the homies that it just beats any other crowd.
Mm-hmm. You know? And dude, it's like priming you for those moments too. Although I think the playing in front of all your friends, the people who you know, like, and trust, like, it is a way to kind of desensitize yourself to, okay, there's a bunch of people here to see me, but you know, regardless of how you're doing and things like that, people are there to support you. You know what I mean? When you're building up your expertise and your skill set and things like that. So it's like you're desensitizing yourself to like that crowd. And it doesn't really matter how you do. So like in the meantime, it's building your confidence in that aspect, but you're starting to grow as a technician behind the decks as well. So that when the time comes where it's like you have a crowd of strangers out there, the technical aspect will carry you. You know what I mean? Because now you can mix really well, and like what it's gonna sound like, it's gonna be good to the general populace if they're there for your genre of music and things like that. So I think it's really special to have a friend group to come out time and time again and support you, because it's doing more for you than I feel like you really even know, or like what I really know. You know, so. It's very cool. We're in a very fortunate position in that regard. You had mentioned a little bit about shuffling and like how there's parallels with each of these journeys. How has being a shuffler helped you be a better DJ?
It's helped me to express creativity better. If it feels right, I'm going to give it a shot. If it sounds bad, cool, we'll make adjustments. But it's taught me to just take chances and also learn the fundamentals, really hammer down the basics, because that's really what it comes down to. Beat matching, can you make sure that this sounds good with this song, mixing in key, things of that nature. They're all basic concepts that sometimes get lost in translation as, you know, people progress in their journey. There's some DJs that'll do their thing with some really cool transitions and they'll use the effects, but maybe they're train wrecking. And, it's not that that's not a bad thing. DJ is going to mess up. I mess up all the time. But if you really want to succeed, I think the fundamentals are so key.
Got it. So, with dancing, it's the same stuff. Like work on your running man, work on your T-step, always. And then, with being behind the decks, like making sure your beat matched, making sure that you're transitioning the song and phrasing it in a correct way where it's palatable to the listeners, So I think that's a really good parallel. Is there a sense that you get from your own experience as a shuffler where it's like you have an intuition of like, okay, this is a bop, like people are going to be getting down if I throw this at this time, because I know that if a DJ threw this while I was out on the dance floor, I would react this way, you know what I mean? Having kind of that what is it called, perception of what a shuffler or just dancer in general would appreciate, you know what I mean, from behind the decks.
Well, there's a certain kind of musicality that's associated with DJing that being a dancer has helped me kind of tap into. And you want to take things into account, phrasing, which is so important, because if you got a buildup that's going on, all right, buildup's going on, ba 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 ba, and let's say you want to play another song, swerve the crowd a bit. If you do the phrasing right, it's going to hit like if it's part of the song naturally. And that's what you want to do, is you want to make the set sound like just one flowing wave, make it smooth. And I think the same thing could be said about shuffling.
Got it, man. That's super cool. You talked a little bit about, how being a shuffler helps you with like the creative process of, being a DJ as well. What does your creative process look like when you're either just mixing on your own, when you're building a set, maybe even if you've been dabbling into production, you can kind of talk about what your creative process is there. But just in general, how do you kind of view mixing and performing for individuals or performing for yourself as well?
Think of it kind of like visualizing something, but rather you're visualizing, I guess, the sound, if that makes any sense. Just look ahead, kind of have like a rough idea of what you want to do. When I plan out my sets or, design my sets, I'll just make it a progression. I'll think, okay, do I want to start heavy? Do I want to start low? And then maybe 2, 3, 4 songs go with a certain kind of energy level and then make a shift. Maybe throw in some crowd pleasers. Yes.
Booty shaking crowd pleases.
Yes, we love booty shaking here. So again, it just comes down to it being an organic flowing piece. One part leads to the next. As for production, have not really dabbled much yet, but that'll be a journey that I'm nervous, but also excited to embark in.
Yeah, and you probably have ideas of how you want it to go, and bouncing that off of the mentors that you had talked about, like, and coming up with something that is true to you, but that like would be very palatable for an audience to like also absorb. So it's very cool. This is where I think that mixing and DJing kind of gets gamified, because it's like, okay, once you're like fully technical and like you feel like you can mix music pretty consistently without, your mess ups, like you said, you're always going to have your mess ups though. Like, especially when you're performing, there's like a little bit of angst that might go into it where, yeah. You always want to do a good job. And so this is probably like the gamification of that. It's like the production is like the next boss battle that you need to get to. And like getting out that first track is a huge milestone, for all of us. So that seems like it's a goal of yours. Are there any other goals or aspirations that you have at the moment for your DJ career?
At the moment, I just want to have fun and enjoy the process. I know that if I stay humble, work hard, the success will come when it's ready.
Got it. Cool, man. Just last question for you before we move on to the last segment. What has been like your your biggest challenge through all this from starting up until this point? Like what trials and tribulations have you really gone through, and like what has been like the antidote for that? Like what's kind of got you past those struggles?
Well, what I have found to be pretty difficult has been the promotion aspect of being a DJ. Not so much the technical aspects like mixing and all that, but really learning to promote your brand, making yourself known. You got to master the algorithms. That's just unfortunately a part of the equation nowadays. But also just knowing when just to do X, Y, and Z that doesn't involve music. It's a lot. It's almost like its own job. It's another skill that you have to learn if you want to do such things in the DJ world. So.
And that's why like DJs typically have a whole team. You know what I mean? They have a team that handles their social media. They have a team that they have a VJ that handles their production, and like, you know, they have a tour manager to get them from point A to point B. And so like that they can focus on all that stuff. But like when you're just one person and then you're wearing all these hats, like maybe you're not good at wearing all those hats, you know, maybe you're kick ass behind the decks, but you know, your social media presence isn't there, and like that precludes you from now getting this show or that show that might have, you know, bolstered you up in, you know, the ranking of your local scene, and to get you closer to maybe even, you know, being on a national level if you've already had like production out. So that is tough. There is a lot of hats that you need to wear, and you know, but I think if you're in the game for long enough, you learn from other people, you learn from, you know, the mentors that want to help you out, like maybe individuals have been through, you know, the same thing that you've been going through, and they can kind of guide you along the way. So very cool to hear, man. Very cool to hear where you're at, where you want to go, all those things. But we're gonna wrap up this part of the interview. I want to hear you mix. I want to hear you get this one out. I think it'll be really cool. But before we do that, we're going to move into our last segment, and this is the segment where I'll ask all of our shuffler DJs these three questions. So this is the world famous 3 and out. I don't know what we're going to do here, but it might be the singing, or I don't know. It might be a bomb exploding. Who knows? But wait, do that again. There, that'll be it. With like a flanger or something.
Sound like a fart.
Yeah. All right. First question for you. So, what is your favorite musical genre to spin?
Trance music.
I was going to guess that. What is a close second?
It's techno. Techno's a close second. It used to be dubstep, but it's kind of like swap places in the echelon. So now like dubstep's third, but trance and techno. I heart you.
Roger that. Roger that. I've heard you spin all three, and it's always fun. Yeah, it's always fun as shit hearing you mix all those. So you do a good job with your song selection and everything incorporated. Next question for you: what has been your favorite performance thus far?
The Mile High Shufflers meetup.
Why is that?
Because it was a full circle moment for me to think that I joined the Mile High Shufflers a couple years back with, you know, no affiliation, no skills, no friends. And now I'm here spinning for the homies. Like, you know,
it is crazy. You know what I mean? Because I remember going to my first couple meetups and seeing like Dee Dee throwing down, Frick, Mike, Emily, JT.
Yes, DJs too.
Yeah, like all of them, and being like, I am not of that caliber. You know what I mean? Like I am not like, it'll take me a while to be able to, you know, spin music and stuff like that. So you might have had a similar thought process there. So it's very cool that was your favorite one, because like you didn't even get paid. You didn't get paid for it. It's not like, you know, it wasn't like a festival or anything like that. It was literally spinning for the homies, and that shows where your heart is. You know what I mean? Next question for you, and this is the last question before we start mixing here. What advice would you give to your former self?
Just give it a shot. Kind of that's very similar advice to what I gave in the last episode, but it stands true for DJing as well. Don't be scared to fail. Give it a shot. Success comes even when you fail, because you learn from it, you gain more knowledge. And if you keep trying, good things will come.
Got it, man. That's very encouraging. I'm sure your former self would appreciate that. For those who don't have your socials and they might want to connect with you after hearing this interview and then, hearing you mix as well, this might be the sound that resonates with them. How can someone best reach out to you?
Instagram, my personal profile, MAR_DELR. And then my music page is Sol Sonata, Sol as in SOL _ Sonata, SONATA.
Got it. And is there anything else that you want to impart on the listeners before we start spinning some music?
If you want to spin, give it a shot. Find a mentor. That's huge. If you can find a mentor, I can't stress that enough. But if you can't, just keep doing stuff. Buy yourself a little starter deck, and who knows? You might be the next Tiesto.
No, that's awesome, man. Thank you for those encouraging words for the audience that might be looking into starting a DJ journey, especially if you're a shuffler and you've been so curious about this. I think that's a very good glide path when you're to get from I don't know anything about this to let's get behind the decks and let's start messing up, So thank you for sharing that.
Also shout out Tupool and shout out Bambi, two other homies that spin and DJ. Y'all crushing it. Keep doing your thing.
Definitely. I want Bambi back here so we can spin some hard techno. Awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Woo.
So without further ado, this is the first ever Shuffle Curious DJ showcase with Sol Sonata.
touch me, I get vulnerable in a different light. Oh no.